Hello there everyone, once again it's Chocolo Roberto here. This time for another video review of course. And this time it is Pretzel M&Ms. Now these are from the US, you can't get them in the UK. I imported them via Amazon basically. So you probably would pay a bit over the odds. But gist of it is, as you can perhaps see in the corner, they're M&Ms with basically a sort of individual sweets. So there's many of these. If you don't know what M&Ms are, they're basically these little round multicoloured spheres, I guess, with an M on them. Usually they have peanuts inside or chocolate, or sometimes even biscuits in the UK. I think those are the main three you can get. It's like a shell, a sort of candy shell, sugar shell with like a small layer of chocolate, then whatever's on the inside. So maybe, as I say, more chocolate or a peanut, some biscuity things. But in this case, it's pretzel. Apparently, yes, crunchy, salty, sweet, it says on the thing. So there we go. These are quite nice. The blue wrapper in the UK is generally for the biscuit M&Ms. I don't know if that's different in the US. 150 calories per serving. That's per pack actually, so that's quite good. Usually it's very, the serving is quite ambiguous as to just what that is. In this case, the pack is the serving, and it's 150 calories, which I'd say is not bad actually. Presumably that's because pretzels are not very calorific. It's a 32 gram bar, 32.3, so it's not bad actually. And 4.5 grams of fat, free of which are saturates, which is really good. So for a chocolate snack, it's really good actually. And if you're an American watching this, please don't be offended, but usually you're in the UK we think everything you have is very calorific. I think probably a lot of it is, to be honest with you, but it's not no worse than here when you think about it. But this is actually very good. Yeah, I think as a low calorie snack. I mean, this has got less calories than your breakfast bars and things like that. I think so. And tastes a lot nicer, I would have thought. Okay, so there's no real point in measuring this because, as you can see, because it's just a number of candies inside. So let's give it an open. Okay. I could have done a better job of that, I do apologise. There we go. That's them all. So how many do we get? So they're quite big. I mean, as I said, I've not had regular M&Ms in the regular US M&Ms before. So I don't know how big regular US M&Ms are, but in the UK they're quite small, definitely smaller than this. So these are quite spherical. So we've basically got 16. So 5, 10, 15, 16 of them. And let's see, you can see they come in a few different colours. They're quite lumpy, these ones. I'll show you a brown one. Well, blue one, why not? So you can see they're quite a bit like a moon of Mars or something. They're all a bit nobbled and weird. But basically this is the blue one, and you can see it does have an M on it. Yeah, you can see that. There you can. It does have an M for M&Ms. Yeah, it's hard for me to tell if you can see that on the camera, so I do apologise if you can't, but it's basically an M. Okay. So I think I'll try and cut one of these open. So if you do this, this is going to be quite difficult. So there we go. I didn't do a great job of that. So I think we can kind of see. So basically, this is what the shell is essentially. Like I was saying before, it's kind of like the candy shell with a sort of layer of chocolate surrounding it. So I think you can see that. So it's quite thick for what it is. And then on the inside, you've basically got this ball of pretzel. So you can just see where my knife's cut it there. So yeah, quite interesting. It's quite nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have so I'll say, just to show you again, just to check you did see, this is the shell. So you can see the shell. And then the chocolate on the inside. So it's about 2 millimeters worth of thickness of chocolate. So that's not bad actually. Surrounding the whole thing. So let's have a try of one then. I'll try this red one. I don't think there's a difference between the colours in the flavour, but there might be. think when I had peanut butter M&Ms, the green ones did seem to be a bit tangier, but it could have just been in my imagination. I'm not sure. Okay, let's have a taste. That's so crunchy. Not too bad, that, you know. It's I would say it's not the best pretzel taste I've had. I've had pretzels before in other sweets and other things. It's quite a dry pretzel. It doesn't really taste, I don't know, salty, to be honest with you. I'll try another one. Well, you immediately get the taste of the shell and the chocolate surrounding the pretzel centre. The chocolate's kind of a typical. If you've had M&Ms, it's the same as the typical M&Ms chocolate. It's a bit of a sort of. It's not really creamy chocolate. It's very much it's a funny chocolate. It's more of an American kind of chocolate, that soury taste. You know, but you don't get much of it, so it's quite subtle. So, but yeah, it's that kind of sour chocolate. It's common in American chocolates, basically. But it's not bad in this case because as I said, there's not loads of it, so it just gives you that taste, that sense of chocolate. But the pretzel itself, got a bit of salty then. I tasted this chunk that we when I cut one open before. I've just tasted that now, so there's no chocolate with it. When I first touched it in my mouth, it did taste a bit salty. But you can see it's basically just a solid centre. I think that's what pretzels generally are. But I think it's too much centre, if you know what I mean, because I think normally the flavouring's on the outside. Yeah, it is. So the saltiness is on the outside. But you don't taste that much because A, it's right next to the sweet of the chocolate. And B, basically, your main thing is just the centre. So when you normally have a pretzel, the ratio between the inside and the outside, where the flavouring is a lot more even than this. You know, whereas this one, it's just mainly about the inside. So you're just getting a lot of crunch and sort of reasonably tasting inside, but it doesn't really have the flavour. So I'll just try another one. I'm struggling. I'm sure it's there, but I think it's mixed in with the sweetness of the chocolate, which in fairness it did say on the wrapper. Yeah, salty and sweet it said, didn't it? But I'm struggling to really get the effect of the pretzel. Because you're getting too much inside of the pretzel, which I think is a bit bland. It's the bland part of the pretzel, to be honest with you. And you're not really getting the saltiness of it, so what you're left with is kind of like a layer of American sort of sourish chocolate with the shell, which is quite sweet, and then you just hit a sort of reasonably flavourless, crunchy centre. Sounds a bit unfair, that, really, because often, you know, biscuits, it's hard to give biscuit parts in a. And when I say biscuit, by the way, that's a UK biscuit. If you're American watching this, I think it means cookie in the US, but like a biscuity centre. So it's like, you know, it's hard to say that has a flavour generally, but it sort of does usually, or has something to it, or at least the substance is there. But in this, I don't know, it doesn't really. It's too much of it. I think it's just like eating a sort of bland crunch, you know. It's okay. Yeah, it's all right. I'm sure you could. I'm sure I've seen chocolate covered pretzels, which are literally like a little mini pretzel, say, so big. It's like a pretzel shape, you know, that sort of bow shape. It's just covered in chocolate, and I think that does a better job of it than this, really, because this, so you don't really feel like you're eating a pretzel as such, because it's too big in the middle for what it is, and the outside is too thin, and you don't get the flavour of the outside of the pretzel. So basically, the middle of it is too big, and the saltiness of the outside layer you just don't taste because it's overshadowed with the sweetness of the chocolate. Yeah, so you don't get it with this really. You don't get the sensation you'd be expecting. It's nice. It's nice and crunchy. I like crunchy bits. A chocolate with crunch, but I don't think the chocolate's amazing. I think if you're American, you'd probably like it a lot more because I think this is to your taste basically. Just because you've grown up with it, and I've grown up with a different type of chocolate, so I don't think so. You might want to disregard that. But for people in the UK. I think you'd probably not be too bored over the chocolate, unless you're a real fan of M&Ms, because it's the same chocolate. And if you're a fan of pretzels, I think you'd be disappointed because you don't get that salty taste of the pretzel, and you just get the sort of blandness of the inside for the most part, because that's what makes up pretty much 90% of this sphere. It's just the inside of a pretzel. So yeah, I think I don't know, maybe two and a half. 2 out of 5, I think, for this one. Well, difficult to say. It's not. I'd say 3 is an average, and it's not bad. It doesn't taste bad or anything. It just tastes a bit bland, really. I'm sure there's other bars that give 3 that I probably prefer to eat than this. But no, I'll give it a 3 because I think 2 would be something that doesn't taste very nice, so it's just not worth it. I think it does have a place here. It's probably 2.5 or 3 out of 5, I think, for this. Yeah, so if you like M&Ms and you're a massive fan of pretzels, I think you'd probably get more out of it than I have. But I think you'd still think, this is a missed opportunity. I think what you want is just a chocolate covered pretzel, really. But to be honest with you, this is what an M&M is. It's a sphere, and it has that mini chocolate coating underneath the sugar outing. So there's no way they could have done anything else, I don't think, because it would have just been something else entirely. So there you go. Alright guys, well I hope you like that review. As always, let me know what you think, and please subscribe and please like the video, or dislike it. Feel free to do that if you want, and just please let me know your feedback, because it's always handy and nice to hear. And it'd be lovely to hear from you as well if you want to get in touch on Twitter or via the comments. Chocolo Roberto is my name on Twitter, and of course here. And right, well, you take care. Hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care guys, thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye.